Hi, everybody. Welcome to TGCS. My name is Tim Gallagher, and today we are going to be discussing AP Computer Science A, Topic 3.5, Methods and How to Write Them. In this first of three videos, we'll develop code to define behaviors of an object through methods written in a class using primitive values and determine the result of calling these methods. Specifically, we'll develop mutator or modifier methods. So let's get started. Here we have a class cake that could be used to make cake objects. We have three instance variables, candle, diameter, and layers, which will hold the attributes of our cake class. We're not going to examine the constructor because we've already covered that in previous videos. So instead, let's focus on how to write our mutator or modifier methods. Here's the first method that we're going to write, add candles, which we're going to use to modify our candle's instance variables. The first line is what we call the method header. All of our methods begin by stating the access specifier, which is usually public for mutator methods. The return type, which in this case will be void for our mutator methods, since we will not be returning a value. The name of the method, which is add candles. And the parameter list, which here is a single parameter, an integer called numCandles. So that's the header. What comes next? We're going to put our curly braces, which is where our method body is going to be located. This is where we write the code that defines the actions that the add candles method is going to execute. Let's say we want this method to add a value to the number of candles already existing in our cake object. So we're going to write candles plus equals numCandles. This will add the value that's contained in the parameter numCandles to the value that already exists in our instance variable candles. We've modified our instance variable. Let's look at another one. Public void set diameter with a parameter new diam. This is the method header for our mutator method that will change the diameter of our cake. So what code will go in the method body of this mutator method? We're going to write diameter equals new diam. This takes the value in the parameter new diam and replaces the old value that instance variable diameter used to hold. Again, we've modified one of our instance variables. Let's look at one more. Public void set layers with a parameter total layers. This will modify our instance variable layers by setting it equal to the total layers parameter. And those are our mutator methods. Now let's look at using them in context. Here we have a main method, and let's say this is in another class that we'll use to test out our mutator methods. First, we'll construct a cake object called partyCake, which is going to be a new cake with parameters 16, 8.0, and 3. We're going to assume that our instance variables are getting initialized. partyCake is now created, and it has 16 candles, a diameter of 8.0, and 3 layers. As we learned before, we can call the method of an object using the object.method format. Here, we're going to call partyCake.addCandles with an argument value of 1. This calls the addCandles method in the cake class. 1 is passed and copied into the parameter numCandles. This method then modifies our candle instance variable by adding 1 to our total number of candles. The candles instance variable now has the value of 17. partyCake.setDiameter 10.0 is going to call the setDiameter method in our cake class, which copies 10.0 to the parameter new diam and replaces the old diameter of 8.0 with our new diam value of 10.0. Finally, by calling partyCake.setLayers with a parameter 4 with the argument of 4, the setLayers method is called, which replaces my old number of layers 3 with the value of my total layers parameter, which is 4. Now we can see that all of the instance variables in our cake object, partyCake, have been updated by using all of the mutator methods available that we wrote in the cake class. So in this video, we developed code to define behaviors of an object through methods using primitive values to update our instance variables. These are called mutator methods or modifier methods, and we demonstrated how these methods are called to update our instance variables in our object. That's it for this video. Thanks for joining us here today. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time. Take care.